is it more of a challenge to raise kids today more than ever? Right? Mm-hmm. With social media, with everything you're talking about like sort of like
Ask
the big
why.
brother approach.
Ask why.
That's what I want to know. Why is that?
Why do you think?
Tell me.
I want you to think, and you don't have kids. I want you to think. Why do you think it's harder today than it was when we were 12 years old, 6 years old?
I mean, the first answer that would have to be social media, just because it has a greater influence than anything we've ever seen with our kids. I mean, growing up, I was the kid that we would always just play sports in the front yard. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Right? This was pre-beeper, pre-cell phone, pre-social media.
Yep.
There was no influence over your life other than at school.
So
right?
So can I? That's one. So give me the easiest product to sell. What's an easy product? Let's say we all become salespeople.
Okay.
And Tyler's our sales leader. He wants to teach us how to sell this product. What's an easy product to sell?
Car.
Okay, cool. What kind of a car? Just a regular car?
Toyota Corolla, which I have, which is amazing.
What's an easy thing where the average person can learn how to sell? Can we say phone?
Ice cream?
How to sell an iPhone? Okay, no, honestly, let's just...
Certain ideas.
Okay,
let's just say...
Valley's Total Fitness?
If you're trying to sell an iPhone, how do you sell an iPhone versus a Droid?
You have to talk about its features, its benefits, why it's superior product.
Green
bubbles versus blue.
Yeah.
FaceTime.
When you're flying, you can text everybody.
FaceTime.
It's just easier to use.
Easier to use. It's tied to the music, all this stuff. So out of 100 people, if we try to train in 1 hour, can we train out of 100 people on people to learn how to sell an iPhone an hour later? Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay. So what else is easy to sell?
A
Gym
pen.
membership?
Yeah,
a pen? What else is easy to sell? Clothes?
Yeah.
What's easy to sell? Okay. So what's hard to sell? What is a hard product to teach someone to sell that takes months and months and months and months to sell?
Insurance.
What else?
Stuff that's expensive.
Financial products.
But give me specific. I want specific. What do you think is hard to teach somebody to sell?
I think it's very hard to teach them to sell, like, life insurance and annuities. They're technical. The benefits are there. But
what about fashion? Like nothing like that?
No.
Technical.
Technology.
You'll look great and you can get laid. I want that. I want that top.
Right. That's the product. but here's the point I'm trying to make to you when I'm saying like what's hard to sell, what's easy to sell. In the 80s, every product you ever sell comes up with a set of FAQs. Some it's 5 frequently asked questions. So tell me, what is the chances that if I buy this real estate property, the market's going to go down? Well, how do I protect myself against it? Well, John, Mary, are you buying this house because you're planning on living here for 2 years? Or are you planning to live this place for 10 years? No, we're at least going to live in this place for 10 years. Well, historically, in the last 10 years, if you look at what's happened to real estate, never has real estate gone down lower than 10. So you give that kind of a rebuttal. You got 5 frequently asked questions. Some technical products, 20. Some extremely technical products, 5,200. Parents in the 80s had 20 FAQs. Where do babies come from? Okay? Mommy, how much love was there in this house that we had a baby? My teacher told me babies come because if there's a lot of love in the house, and then babies are born. So if we only have 1 baby and they have 5, does that mean our household doesn't have enough love like the other household has? No, son, that's not really where babies come from. But tell me what happens when we die. Are you going to die one day? Like these questions that kids ask, we ask our parents. Can you imagine today one of the FAQs you got to give to a parent is, what's a transgender and am I one? Mommy, am I gay? Am I lesbian? Hey, Mommy, let me ask you a question. Why did you not take the vaccine? Why aren't we taking a vaccine? My teacher told me it's irresponsible to not take the vaccine. Are we taking a vaccine? The FAQ of parenting today is the size of a Bible. And parents just can't keep up anymore. That's the biggest, in my opinion, that's the biggest difference of parenting in the 80s versus today. It's like in the 80s, you needed an associate degree to be a parent. Today, you need a PhD to be a parent.
Wow.
You need to go train to learn how to answer some of these complex questions with kids.
Good point.
It's a challenging time to have kids.
I think we've also lost community. When I was growing up, I knew the names of all my neighbors.
That's right.
Today, you don't know the names. If your neighbor says hello to you, they're being nosy and you're like worried. I can remember I was 7 years old. I go walking down the street toward the end of the neighborhood. And the neighbor drives by. He rolls down his window. And he called me. He says, Tommy. I said, yeah. Where are you going? Because he knows I live way down there. I live like 5 houses down. And what's this 7-year-old walking here? I'm running away from home. Why are you doing that? Because I'm mad. He stops his car, opens the door, stands up. You go home right now, and I'm calling your mom to tell her that you were down here walking toward the main street. And so I got home because he's calling my parole officer, telling her that.
You remember this?
I remember this. I was 7 years old. And so guess what? That doesn't happen today. You don't talk to my kid. You don't yell at my kid. But that father was part of the community of the neighborhood. And we weren't all Republicans. We weren't all Democrats. There is different views there. But there is a community that's been lost in America. You don't know your neighbors and you don't trust your neighbors. There was a time when he thought that I should tell this kid. And what is the only thing he did? Get home. I'm calling your mom. That was it. By the time I got home, he says, where were you? I was walking down toward the main road. And why were we doing that? And now, guess what? I got this moment with my mom. I'm in my room, and I'm waiting for my dad to get home because I'm not supposed to be doing this.
And we all just learned that BizDoc used to be called Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah, because I was little, and it's the nickname for little kids.
That's such an important thing. You're talking about community, though, and that's been lost. And there are so many parents, Tom, that are now trying to recapture that because it's exhausting to all those questions that Pat spouted off before. It's true. You have to think what your kid could come home and ask. There's a lot of people, though, now that want a little bit of that simplicity back, and they're moving off the grid. They're going into the small towns. You see a lot of people leaving the New York Cities. They're leaving the Miamis. They're leaving even the Austin, Texases, and they're heading out into get some land and get that sense of community where they can raise their child in a place that's not woke, that's not crazy, where the school actually teaches them, reading, writing, and math, and not, propaganda all day long, and they don't have to worry about indoctrination, and that they know their neighbors, and there is a sense of community. Because think about it too, the privileged can hire help, can do this, but people need community. Often hardworking people go to work every day, and they like the idea that their kid is part of a town where that becomes the family. You all kind of raised each other back in the day. I remember, my neighbors were like aunts and uncles, and that was a beautiful thing. When you strip that away, it leaves people feeling very isolated. It leaves people in lower income brackets struggling. And then what do? They have to put their kids into the system. And that then creates the whole paradigm we were talking about before, where the kids get indoctrinated. So that whole sense of community is vital and important. I think more and more people around the country are realizing it and trying to get it back.
You know where it shows up a lot?
I agree.
It shows up a lot. It shows up a lot in homeschooling, because homeschooling creates networks of families together that agree on one thing. The school is whack, and we're going to homeschool.
I love it.
Whack.
Whack.
And they, right?
You whack.
It's true.
And but look what builds up. Relationships build up, because somebody teaches science because they knew that, or they hire a tutor to be part of that. And homeschooling families, there's huge community that's growing out of that, out of not going up to the mountains and all being weird people, right? This isn't deliverance and homeschool. This is just a community of people pulling together and saying, hey, we're going to homeschool, so are we. And they meet all these other families, and there's resources for them. There's ACT testing. And you know what? Guess what they also discover? They also discover this community of common citizens.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.